The biggest misconception about products made in China is that they're inherently cheap. While mass production has led to an abundance of low-cost goods, China is also home to high-quality craftsmanship, advanced manufacturing, and luxury production. Where something is made matters less than how it's made. While American-made products are often associated with durability, Chinese manufacturing is frequently and unfairly linked to cheap materials, poor quality, or exploitative labor. But China isn't a singular entity, and its production landscape isn't one-dimensional either. We can't reduce an entire country's manufacturing capabilities to a stereotype. The phrase "made in China" didn't always carry its current connotations. The US's complex relationship with Chinese manufacturing dates back to the 30s, shaped by evolving trade policies and globalization. By the 60s and 70s, outsourcing surged across Asia, with China investing heavily in technology. However, by the early 90s, attitudes began to shift. Public outcry followed revelations about Nike's use of sweatshops and child labor in Asian factories, sparking a wave of similar cases. Like many multinational corporations, Nike outsources the production of its sportswear and sneakers to developing economies to cut costs, capitalizing on low-wage labor. Nike's reliance on sweatshops began in Japan before shifting to lower-cost labor markets like South Korea and Taiwan. As these economies grew and wages increased, the company moved production to even cheaper suppliers in China, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Though Nike's use of sweatshops dates back to the 1970s, it remained largely unnoticed until 1991, when activist Jeff Ballinger published a report exposing the conditions faced by Indonesian garment workers in Nike factories.
I'm walking down this dirt path into this village, and I see this massive pile of scrap shoe rubber that I later learned came from one of Nike's factories, and piles like that get dumped there all the time, and the end result of these piles is that they get burned in that village in the big open space where kids play, and the burning fumes, I learned from the company that designs Nike shoe rubber, will give off toxins and carcinogens. Kids are paying the price. And they're the ones with the chest infections, and they're the ones that are going to develop cancer. When we were in Indonesia, we made attempts to get into a Nike factory because Nike claims on their website we have nothing to hide.
I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
Good.
We went over to Nike's corporate offices, and Nike denied us that.
We're unable to accommodate that request.
So long.
After Nike, several other major fashion brands faced scrutiny for similar labor abuses. Some of them include Gap in '95, which was accused of using child labor in factories in El Salvador and later in India. H&M in the 2000s, reports surfaced of incredibly poor working conditions and extremely low wages in factories across Bangladesh and Cambodia. Zara in 2011 and 2013, investigations found forced labor conditions in its supply chain in Brazil and then later in Argentina. When it comes to production, China operates on a level of efficiency and complexity that the US simply can't match. Over decades, China has built a highly integrated manufacturing ecosystem that enables brands to produce clothing at a much larger scale than anywhere else. China's fashion supply chain is incredibly streamlined. Entire cities specialize in different aspects of production. Guangzhou for textiles, Shenzhen for apparel prototyping, and Eastern Coastal Province, Zhejiang, for raw materials. This specialization allows brands to source fabrics, manufacture garments, and package them all within the same region, drastically cutting production time. In contrast, US manufacturing is more scattered. American fashion brands often have to import raw materials from other countries, increasing costs and extending production timelines. Even when these quality garments are made in the US, manufacturers rely on overseas components, making the process far less efficient than China's self-sufficient system.
The reason why China's so good at manufacturing is because every single thing that you need to make your stuff is in the same town.
Yes.
If you're making a t-shirt, the thread supplier's in the same town, the dye house is in the same town, everything you need to make it is there.
I think that this whole conception that consumers have created now, where they look inside, they look at the care label and they see made in China, and all of a sudden they're like, I don't want to buy it. It's so backwards because there's good China and there's bad China. That's really what it comes down to, right? Like China puts out, I think it's like 28% of the world's product comes out of China. It's insane, right? It's a lot of product, okay? But there's great factories that make unbelievable product. There are some things I would rather make in China than make in Italy. You know what I mean? Because they have the machinery, they have the expertise that you just can't get in these other countries, right? Like if I'm doing anything tape seaming, like those complex gorp jackets, like there's some factories in China that are unbelievable. The laser cutting machines and everything, you can't come close. So I find people should not be so quick to judge made in China. And there's some factories in China that are very expensive to produce at as well, right?
It's all about managing your expectations for what product you want. If you want to create a solid product, if you go to a factory and ask them how low can I make it for, they'll that's the bar that you set for them. They will find the cheapest yarn, they'll find the cheapest fabric, they'll find the cheapest things because that's the mission you gave them.
That's you're leading with the wrong question when you go in and you lead with price.
Yeah.
And in general, when you're speaking to a factory, I found what's been the most effective is if you actually want to make 5,000 units of something, you tell them you want to make 2,000. And then you negotiate on quantity. That's how you get your price back. So if they put you out at $10 for 2,000, but you want to pay $8, you say, I want to make 5,000, we do $8. And so you started off with a lower quantity, all of a sudden you have leverage when you say you want to produce more.
I've worked with factories where if you're looking to create something really high quality, you say high quality and just expect it's going to cost more because the yarn costs more, the fabric costs more, the labor costs more. It just costs more to produce this garment and be okay with that. And that's how you get a really awesome product at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you don't want to get ripped off 100%. And I've just been manufacturing clothing for so long, I kind of know what things should what things should cost to make. But trying to not squeeze your manufacturing partners is such an important thing. And it's,
I think people lose sight of the fact that the factories are people too. Like people literally lose sight of the fact that they're not just robots that answer your simple questions of how much things cost. Like these are humans with families and lives. You can bring them gifts. They'll give you samples for free when you take good care of them. If it's Chinese New Year, wish them a happy New Year. Be considerate, think about them. Like there's a whole side to that where I think people completely miss that mark.
China factories can go from design to mass production in a matter of weeks, a speed essential for fast fashion brands like Shein, Zara, and Fashion Nova. This is because Chinese manufacturers have the infrastructure to handle small batch test runs, make quick adjustments, and scale up to 1 million of units almost instantly.
Once a design is created, Zara can send those greige goods to their network of small shops in nearby regions, where they're transformed into finished dresses, trousers, and tops. Instead of huge orders, Zara makes a small batch of each style to start with. The retail stores can then send feedback to headquarters about what's selling and what's not, and they can quickly ramp up production on whatever's popular, restocking within days if needed. It massively reduced the risk that came with clothing production. Instead of losing money on clearance sales or throwing away unsold goods, Zara's styles often sell out quickly. The designers don't have to predict trends a year in advance. They can just respond to fashion trends as they emerge.
With US manufacturing, the struggle with scalability is definitely present due to the higher wages, fewer factories, and limited infrastructure. While very ethical and sustainable, fashion brands are pushing for more American-made production. The reality is that the costs and inefficiencies make it difficult to even compete with China's established systems.
What made in China in 2024 means now is different than made in China maybe 15, 20 years ago, like you're saying. So like, what were the big takeaways that you and the team came away with after doing this R&D?
I think, so what I've always thought about Made in USA, because I would love to make stuff in the US, but for us, since like our detail level is so high, it's just like inefficient to make stuff in the US because, and we make some stuff here, but like to get the level of detail and to get the fabric selection, I go to China and there's like a 5-mile long fabric market with everything you could ever imagine. And you can make like whatever rivet or whatever button within like a few days.
Put your face on a coin.
Exactly, yeah. You can put your face on a coin and there's no questions. Here, if you want to make a screen printed t-shirt and you want to do a woven label, it's like the place is up in arms about it, for the size tag.
Yeah.
For us, China just makes sense for like some of the stuff we do.
And is what you saw with Chinese production like levels beyond what you expected.
Yeah, so
not just this fact that entire cities are devoted to like manufacturing clothing and textiles.
Yeah, so how it works, at least what I've been told is like China uses machines for 10 to 15 years, and then they ship it to the US. And then the US uses them. So the production methods in China are just that much advanced for like, not for every factory, but for a lot of factories.
Just because a t-shirt is labeled made in USA doesn't necessarily mean it was entirely produced in the United States. In reality, many of these garments don't even meet the Federal Trade Commission standards for the label. Many t-shirts branded as American made are actually manufactured overseas as blank garments. These blanks are then shipped to the US, where they are screen printed, embroidered, or finished with minor modifications before being sold as made in the USA. This doesn't qualify as true domestic manufacturing. For a product to legally carry the Made in USA label under FTC regulations, it must be all or virtually all made in the country. That means all significant processing, including fabric production, cutting, and sewing, must take place in the US. If imported materials are used, the label must disclose that, Made in USA with imported fabric. However, enforcement is inconsistent and many brands push the boundaries of what qualifies. Here's an example of a brand getting caught. Lions Not Sheep got fined around $200,000 for marketing t-shirts as made in the USA, when they were actually producing abroad and printed in the US, with the owner even admitting to it.
Yo, it's about to be a brand new year. Can we be done with polyester? This is actually the worst thing that you could probably put on your body. Like literally looks wise and health wise. Bro, like it makes you look so cheap. Like I can tell when somebody's wearing that. And especially like this winter time, like that is not keeping you warm. But read the description. Like these sellers are selling you 100% polyester sweatpants and you guys are straight buying them. And then you get them and then you're like, why are these so terrible? From now on, if you're purchasing clothes, make sure you read the description and make sure it does not say polyester. There's literally a reason why it's so cheap. It is not a sustainable material. I am so glad that I personally got over my phase of that. I know like like 4 years ago, probably like I was wearing like straight up Shein and I don't know what I was doing. Bro, the minute you start investing into high quality clothes, like good material, that shit is gonna last you so much longer. Polyester is really gonna deteriorate on you.
Before we get into addressing everything he said in the video, which is mostly all wrong, I just want to say videos like this, not just for this specific topic, fuel the rapid spread of misinformation. Once misinformation gains enough traction, it becomes common knowledge on this platform. People will repeat it with uttermost confidence, dismissing any facts. I've seen this recently in a comment section where the video isn't even about polyester initially. POV, how it feels to shop at the mall as a thrifter. Christina comments, and everything is made of polyester. Anita responds, not all polyester bad though. Alex responds, all. Damn Anita, I feel bad. Not even one person liked your comment. I was searching for a response to this video, and this one right here is pretty much my favorite.
It's about to be a new year and we need to leave polyesters behind, especially all the misinformation about it. Now before I get into it, polyester is horrible for the environment as it takes up a lot of water and energy usage, as well as it never degrading. And not to mention it also releases microplastics into the water when you wash it. But the first thing I want to tackle is how polyesters don't keep you warm.
Especially like this winter time, like that is not keeping you warm.
Polyester has heat retaining properties that help insulate the body and trap air to keep you warm. And it's really confusing when people make the claim that it doesn't keep you warm in the winter. And we see a lot of tech brands actually use it in most of their products like Acronym and even Kiko. I know polyester gets a bad rap just considering that there's this type of stuff out there. And don't even get me started about vegan leather. It's just plastic. And sure, a lot of brands use polyester in their pieces and they make it look horrible, but most outdoor brands actually use polyester for many of the good properties that polyester does have. Also, another fun fact about polyester is you probably have polyester thread being used in your clothing. Polyester is just a lot more durable than a lot of natural fibers and most likely won't break or tear over time because, like I mentioned, it never degrades. So it's pretty common in a lot of the actual clothing pieces that we do have. And I mean, there's actual polyester blends in a lot of the pieces that we might even own. And I mean, besides a lot of techwear brands using it, a lot of actual activewear uses polyester in their materials. But in regards to the actual health concerns, the endocrine disruptors, polyester is not classified as an endocrine disruptor, but the chemicals used to actually create polyester is. But to end this off, I am not a polyester sympathizer.
I don't know, man. I feel like if I was present at Paris Fashion Week with the weather being 30 degrees, no amount of layering with cotton hoodies paired with trousers would even keep me warm. Prone to being cold all the time, I need that insulation and function that comes with polyester to keep me warm. Also in athletics gear, you can see it highly used, making it ideal for activewear that needs to perform well.
When I got surgery, I used to wear it to, press the, the fluid down. And then when my arm healed, I was so used to wearing it. I was watching a video one time and he had a sleeve on in the video. And I was like, okay, now it's out of control. You know what I mean? And then I just started seeing everybody wear the sleeve, and I just think it's dope, that I started. And people actually call it the AI sleeve. Damn, I messed up by not copyrighting that.
As always, this is my favorite part of the videos where I jump into brands. A lot of these Chinese designers and their brands have been inspiring me a lot these past few months. NULLUS. The term NULLUS originates in Latin and means nothing. The founders intended to keep the brand's name as simple as possible and place the emphasis on the garments themselves. The design language of NULLUS is defined by the omitted fabric, introverted and concealed design features, and a comfortable wearing experience. This brand is actually pretty popular, but also incredibly underrated in many ways. I was wondering why in their recent lookbook and fittings there were countless medals and trophies being present with the models, and with the collection the designers explained the reason behind the choice. From their perspective, they explained that from an early age, children are shaped by high expectations from their families. In today's fast-paced world, competition begins in childhood, pushing individuals to excel in academics, athletics, and the arts. This collection explores the weight of expectation, the top student, the star athlete, the refined musician, the future businessman. Through these elements, the collection captures the pressure to achieve and the pursuit of excellence, reflecting the expectations placed on youth in a competitive world. Conchoboe was founded in 2023. It takes its name from the Greek meaning a specific tone blown from a conch shell. I love the autumn-winter 24 fittings and the theme revolving around the ocean accompanying all the looks. Really like the shape of the blazers and the fit on them along with this specific jacket. At the time of making this video, this brand now has an Instagram, but back 2 months ago, born in China and developed in Antwerp, Denim, originally known as Slight Vogue, was a label slowly going through a rebrand, and is currently displaying their unique pieces and quality craftsmanship. Some of my favorite pieces are the trousers and the accompanying blazer, with the buttons really standing out. The only thing I dislike is the leg opening on these trousers. They're not for me, but I understand if others like it. For sure one of my favorite brands recently. Pet-Tree-Kor is a clothing brand based in Shanghai. They seek to reconnect people with nature by using design as a medium to infuse natural elements into city life, creating a new urban plant language. The brand name Pet-Tree-Kor means the smell of soil after rain. Their most recent collection titled Wind Trails Captured explores another layer of the relationship between wind and form from the perspective of wind itself. Tanmonline. This brand caught my eye with this jacket right here. There was a video of this jacket being styled in different ways. I tried finding it again but had no luck. I liked how the neck area isn't tight and it's pretty spacious. But in the video you can see how different the jacket can look when the neck area is zipped down halfway or if the jacket is open all the way. I've pretty much accepted that I would probably never acquire this piece. Near for Rest is a multi-layered cultural community that integrates fashion, music, art, and philanthropy, challenging the narrative that often glorifies negativity among youth and to promote a culture where kindness and community are celebrated. Each collection draws inspiration from different regions around the world, immersing in local cultures and giving back through their Young Power project, a charity initiative addressing the specific local needs, which directly supports communities in need. The Young Power Code allows customers to track their contributions, ensuring that 10% of the retail price of every purchase goes to local charitable initiatives. A great foundation for both women's and men's clothing is present here. I think this is the founder/designer and this is her IG. Lots of great fittings, campaigns, and overall storytelling for this brand. Really well done. Killwhy, an experimental brand created by a kid who grew up near the Kayantang River in Hangzhou, China. Product photography here is top notch, and I really liked how the Instagram account documents all the workers seen rocking Killwhy on the job, spotlighting the clothes in a unique way. Attempt is an independent designer brand founded by Liang Dong in 2015. The brand is committed to exploring the relationship of experimentation at face value while constantly trying different styles and elements. The exploration of self-identity is a long-term endeavor for Attempt. Inspired by the profound Oriental aesthetic, they revisit the essence of Eastern identity with forms that strike a balance between traditional style and contemporary design. Additionally, they draw inspiration from the uniforms used in fencing, judo, and other sports to introduce novelty, further enriching their products. Cornerstone is founded by architect, designer, and priest Sun Yun. The label draws inspiration from ancient Chinese theories and legends, reflecting values of strength, permanence, and longevity to create a clear, seamless aesthetic. The collections unveil an intricate process focusing on volumes, textures, and proportions with precise attention to detail. Zrwerk extract elements from Chinese clothing and armor, deconstruct them with details of tactical gear, motorcycle protective clothing, and structures of industrial objects and machinery. They work on kinetic pattern experiments based on Chinese traditional garments. The recent season's material selection was inspired by different types of metals used on armors: bronze, steel, gold, silver, nylon that shines with bronze gloss, black denim with subtle golden yarns woven in, structured heavyweight wool that imitates surfaces of armor plates, hardwares with iron sand-like texture. Thank you guys for watching. This is the end of the video. Please leave a comment on any other Chinese brands that should be on my radar. I will see you guys in the next one.